And I am here with a very, very special guest of Ride in the Pint, current international pro basketball player, Loren Brill. Loren, it is beyond a joy to get you back on the show, my friend. How are you doing today?
I'm good, brother. I'm glad to be back, man. Been looking forward to this. Long overdue, man.
Yeah, long overdue. Very well put, because you and I have been going back and forth. I know that you've been busy. I've been busy. We've been all over the place recently. And I know that you're right now, like, you're going to get into it, I'm sure, but you're in the bubble, stuck there right now. But I want to first jump into this because I haven't asked off air, on air, how the season's been going, man. I mean, how's things been your first professional season? How's it been? And also, what's it like having to deal with COVID still going on?
I mean, it's good, man. So far, right now, we're in the standings. We're 6-3. So right now we're third in our conference. So it's funny you say about COVID, but before, like in July to August, like we were on a hot start. We're 4-0. And then our season got stopped because of COVID, because we went into lockdown in the capital. So we had like a month delay. And then we just got recently back about 2, 3 weeks ago. So now we're just trying to make up for lost time because we're trying to finish the conference before playoffs and just kind of get it rolling from there.
Well, it's great that you guys are off to such a good start. I mean, 6-3, sitting in a good, comfortable spot in the conference and the standings. And again, amid all of this COVIDness that's still going on, I mean, you got to really tip your cap a little bit to yourselves. How has it been? I think, or more so, what is kind of the overall just morale and I guess the spirit of the team? Not obviously with wins and losses, but just kind of having to deal with this every day of COVID and the everyday of we might be in a bubble. We might have a game. I mean, that's got to be very draining mentally for you, right?
Yeah, there's one thing definitely I think the team has learned is flexibility. So we have a lot of things that are out of our control. Like before we got here, we were probably practicing 2 hours outside of where we usually live in the capital. It's called a province called Batangas. But we've been flexible with that. And also we just been flexible with scheduling because you never know when your next game is gonna be, or if your game is actually gonna happen. There was one coach who actually said, "You're as good as your last COVID test." So I mean, it's a good point, but it's kind of the reality of things. So we're just kind of making sure we can control all that we can control, and then leave the rest of like whoever can do that for us.
What's the schedule like for you guys normally? Like, if there's no COVID cancellations, I mean, are you playing every night or is it every 2 days or every 3 days? I mean, how often are games usually?
So usually games are every 2 days. So so for the entire PBA for us, games are scheduled between Wednesday through Sunday. And then Monday, we have a COVID test all the teams participate in. And then Tuesday, the schedule is released on who's playing between Wednesday through Sunday, just in case if something were to occur that they can go around it and figure out what they need to. And so like for us, we have our last two games for the conference on Thursday and Sunday. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be awesome, man. Well, it's great that you've been able to kind of get your foot back on the court and get up and down a little bit and get back to somewhat of normalcy, if you will. But I need to ask, man, what has it been like playing at the pro level? I mean, what's that adjustment been like for you?
It's been a lot of adjustment. I've been learning a lot, and like even though I'm 24 years old and been playing for how long, I'm always finding something that I've never knew before. So it's kind of nice to talk to older guys and also just figure out and pick their brain because in practice in the games, I'm always picking up something new. And I'm just trying to be a sponge, man. Just trying to learn everything, take it all in, and enjoy it. But it's been a blessing so far, man. I can't complain.
That's great. How's it been? I mean, are you able to see your brother much? I know your brother and you are also playing in the same league together and are both kind of playing simultaneously. How has it been being able to kind of get to see him or kind of not get to see him? I mean, what's the advice that he's been giving you just on the court and off the court?
I've been able to see my brother, but obviously outside of the bubble. Um, but I'm now in the bubble, so there's really much that I can do. I mean, I talk to him, call him, but obviously we watch film together when we can, or before came into the bubble, and he kind of lets me know what I can improve on, and just kind of keeps me grounded. Like if I'm feeling low, he kind of gives me the right advice, and if I'm kind of feeling up, he's kind of keeps my feet on the ground. So it's also a blessing, and he definitely keeps me level headed when I need it to be.
It's got to be really nice having somebody there to bounce ideas off of, watch film with, somebody that, again, it's that extra point of view. It's that extra set of eyes that you might see one thing, he might see another. And for everybody that is at home listening, the Brill brothers are the most unbelievable 2-on-2 basketball team of all time. I would bet a lot of money on them in a 2-on-2 tournament that they would win 9 times out of 10. I have fallen victim to them. Loren, I probably could count on all my hands and feet right now, and it probably wouldn't even be enough of the times that you guys have taken me down with my 2-on-2 partners in the past. So again, it goes to show you just the chemistry that you've been able to develop on the court. We can kind of see now the behind the scenes of what you guys do off the court that makes you guys work in sync so well. You know what I mean? So I think
Mhm.
that is a great thing, and I think it's really nice that you have that experience and that access, if you will, of being able to see your brother when you're not in the bubble, obviously. Now, I do want to ask about the whole bubble situation. What is
Mhm.
kind of the protocol or kind of the process in which you are placed in the bubble? So do you get kind of a notification? Then you have like, what are the steps in which you have to go through to get to where you are at right now in the bubble?
So before you enter the bubble, you have to have a negative COVID test. So about 2 days before, and then so once you get in here, you take another test, an antigen test, to make sure that you're negative, and then to go from there. Obviously, there's other teams as well in the same bubble with us. It's a semi bubble in the sense that not all the league is in the same hotel. So other teams are staying in Airbnbs and other respected hotels. But there's about alongside my team. There's about 5 other teams here. So protocol is basically we have certain times of like gym access, pool access. So if people want to swim, if you want to get a lift, then that's always available. And yeah, you're able to just basically walk around, but they try to tell you to keep away from other teams, obviously as much as you can, because you never know, just kind of just being safe. And for food, they always deliver it to you. And obviously for every meal, they'll knock on the door and ring the doorbell, and then from there, if you don't like the food, you can always order out. So they give us a list of restaurants, and then you can order out. Obviously, they have to disinfect, obviously clean stuff, and make sure that there's nothing being brought into the bubble. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the protocol and stuff.
Well, it sounds like it's very strict, and I mean, it has to be, right? I mean, this is, you know, your season, your livelihood, you're playing games. Speaking of which, how has your team been playing? I mean, how would you assess your team's play as of late? I know you said that you guys have been playing pretty solid as of lately. You're in a good spot in the standings, but how would you say you guys have been playing? And really, how far have you guys come from the beginning of the season to now?
I feel like we have yet to play our best basketball, but that's a good note because we're really doing really well. Like we pride ourselves in defense, and for the most part, that's shown because either we've won, and then the 3 losses I've only been in single digits. So it's definitely stuff we can improve on. And like my coach says, Coach Shita, he was saying that what do you call it? That if we have to learn the lessons now, so in the future it doesn't hurt as bad. Like for example, we drop one game by 1 point. It's like you guys want to drop that now or drop it later in the semifinals, in the finals. So it's stuff like that kind of keeps you in perspective, and I feel like we're starting to definitely click. But just right now, just kind of it's always playoff basketball, man. It's going to be whoever's hot and whoever can find the right momentum. So hopefully we can be that team going into playoffs.
I think it's a good thing when teams aren't peaking at the beginning of the year or the middle of the year. Even then, I mean, you want to be peaking in the playoffs, and especially if
Mhm.
you're a playoff team, which it sounds like you guys are. I mean, you see these teams that really ascend quickly. I mean, just to kind of give the example in the NBA, you see teams that come out storming out of the gates, and then once they get to the playoffs, they're burned out, they're exhausted, they don't have anything left in the tank. It's usually, not all the time, but usually those teams that for the most part, they were good the entire year. They had a very good season, but they didn't reach that maximum potential. And I think that's when you can have the best outcome in the playoffs is when you haven't quite reached that threshold yet. What's been the most exciting part of your new pro career? I mean, I'm sure there are a lengthy grocery list of things, but what would you say has been just the most I can't believe this is happening, or I can't believe I'm going through this right now, or I can't believe this is my reality? I mean, what was, or what it has been kind of that aha, or that, oh my gosh, this is actually happening to me moment been like for you?
Definitely have to say game time, like suiting up, putting on the jersey, seeing your name on the back of the jersey and the name on the front of the jersey. For me, Magnolia, it's kind of like, oh man, like I'm here, because I always tell some of the guys as well as some of the coaches that when I visited here in about 2005, one of the practices I came to was a Magnolia practice. So I was able to have a little picture of myself like 10 years old with one of the former players. And then now looking back, I'm like, wow, like I'm actually here. So like definitely when I check in the game and I see, like I hear my name call, like checking in at number 0, Loren Brill, and I see all the bright lights, all the screens, the cameras. I'm like, wow, like I finally like achieved the dream. And like I said, it's a blessing. I just keep just to live that dream. It's like I can't ask for anything more.
Well, hey man, as a ginormous Lauren Brill fan and a good friend of yours, it's always fun just getting to see you do this. I mean, I'm super eager to just hear so much about what it's been like. I mean, hey, how often can you say that you've got a good friend of yours that's playing professional sports? You don't really get to say that a whole lot. So it's kind of cool, from us over here with just on the sidelines, just watching you. It's hearing you say this in high school, hearing you talk about this when you were in college, now to see you actually doing it, it shows what hard work, dedication, visualizing it really does. I mean, you're sitting in a hotel room. I know you probably wouldn't like to be in a hotel room, but you're sitting in a hotel room, you're getting ready for a week's worth of games professionally. I mean, you're
Mhm.
making money doing what you love the most. I mean, that's got to be the coolest aspect of it. Now, I do have to ask, your first ever pro game. Okay, you're coming in, you're checking in, you hear your name. I mean, walk me through that. Walk me through that first experience of you're actually being told, "Come on, you're going in the game," and it's your actual. This isn't college. This isn't Georgetown Prep. This is not AAU. This is professional basketball. What was that process like? What was going through your head?
Well, when I saw Coach Tito point at me and said I was going in, like my heart kind of stopped. I was like, oh, like me. So I had to it had to really hit me like, oh man, like I'm actually going in. So then when you run to the scores table, you have to announce the person you're gonna take out. So like I went and like I was trying to get it out. I was like, they're like, who are you getting? And I was like, and then like obviously I said the player, and I got in, and then obviously I heard the name, tucking in my jersey, and I was just running in. I was like, oh man, like this is it. Like this is everything I've been wanting. This is everything I've been working for. So once that came into reality, I was like, is this really happening? Like just running through on the court. And then like obviously my teammates are like dapping me up, giving me high fives, like, all right, like time to play. So it's definitely one memory I'll probably like never forget, just one of those that'll like stick in my head, like until like when I'm old, like when I first checked into my first professional basketball game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how could it not, right? I mean, that is a
Mhm.
ginormous milestone in your life. Now I have to ask, the first ever pro bucket. Talk about that play. I mean, what were you seeing? What was the defense giving you? I mean, what was that whole series of events like?
So my first pro bucket was actually a free throw. So it was a penalty, and I remember I was pushing the ball after someone got a rebound, and the guy fouled me. So like obviously just lined it up and then knocked down my free throws. But later that same game, my first bucket was toward the end of the game. I got out of the ball on the wing, and then one of my teammates came out to send me a screen. I retreated back, and saw an opening, just went down the lane and then laid it up, and then got fouled for and one. So, I mean, for first career bucket, that's kind of cool as well to remember. It was an and one. Missed the free throw though after, so but it humbled me again, saying I have to work on my free throws, and there's still a lot more to grow in my game. So that's those are yeah the first points and first bucket.
Hey, if you go 2 for 3 in your first ever for your first ever pro points, 2 for 3 from the free throw line, I'd be very happy. I mean, obviously you want to go perfect from the free
Yeah,
throw line, but I'd
exactly.
be like, hey, 2 for 3. I'll take that.
Mhm.
You got in the scorebook, my friend. Your name
Yeah,
got penciled in. You got put in the newspaper for the next day. That's what's important.
it's in the
But
books, man. It's in the books. That's what this old saying used to be.
yeah, I mean, how many times would we, check the Washington Post the next morning? Oh, look, our name's in the Post. There's a little two next to it, or whatever it might have been.
Yeah.
But I mean, now I'm curious also for kind of the rest of this season, right? What is kind of your personal outlook? Like, what are you looking at of things that you need to continue to work on? What are some things that you really want to hone in on? But then also, what are some things that you could see your team really starting to gel together on and really start to kind of improve upon that you've been working on throughout this entire year?
Mhm. I think for me personally, so far, the games I've been playing and the film that I've just been watching on myself, I think definitely figuring out the pace that I want to play at. Because sometimes I feel rushed. I feel like I have to go instead of just making the right reads. And also just playing with through more contact and through more pressure. Because as a point guard, it's you're always going to be thrown at traps, different schemes, and just kind of just being ready for that. So I mean, I'm looking forward to learning more. Obviously, I learned from my own teammates as well, how they play. And then as a team standpoint, I started to see us gel definitely through our inside presence. I feel like we've been starting to play through it more through the post, and that's helped a lot. And I could see us definitely doing some damage in the future through that. And then our guard play, especially just through two-man game like pick and rolls and pick and pops. Like we have good personnel for that, and we're a team who can run the floor. So usually, if we pride ourselves through defense, we create turnovers, and then hopefully that creates easy points on the other end. So I'm looking forward to that. Eventually, we put a full game of 48 minutes together. So yeah, once that happens, I like our chances.
Well, it sounds like a very balanced team. You can do a little
Mhm.
bit of everything out on the court and you can really control the tempo of the game in both aspects. And I think the most dangerous teams are teams that, like you said, are generating points through turnovers. You're basically getting offense out of the other teams messing up on offense and your defense is coming up big. That's when you're a really scary team and you don't want to be messed with. I want to derail the conversation just a little bit, just a little bit.
All right, I'm
Gotta
with it.
get
I'm with it.
yeah, I know you're hey man, you're one of Ryan the Pine's favorite guests. This is I feel like I'm not even on air, even though I am. I'm just talking with a friend of mine. It's great. I love having you come on the show. Want to
That's
ask
all
about the absolutely. I want to ask about the NIL. Big
right.
stuff in college. You as a former collegiate athlete playing in Division 1 basketball, I'm sure that this is huge for you just to hear looking back at your collegiate career, but I'm sure there are a lot of guys that you still know that are still playing collegiately that this is very impactful for. How much do you think this will impact not just collegiate athletics, the entire landscape, but individual athletes? And then my follow up to that is could you see or do you see any sort of aspect of athletes deciding to actually stay an extra year or two in order to continue to make money while in college and maybe put the professional career on the side for a year or two and we don't see as many early exits into pro sports?
I love the NIL deal. Honestly, I feel like it's probably the smartest way to do it because I always knew the pay for play counter argument was if you're treating the athletes as professional players, could you set quotas? For example, if you're a basketball player and you're starting to get paid to play, can we say like, look, if you don't make the X amount of threes this season, if you don't make X amount of points, we could take that pay away from you. And that's the reality of things. So I think the NIL is a great idea because it offers not only the players, I mean, yeah, all the players, all the athletes a chance to earn money for their own off their own name. So to go on your question on whether it changes the landscape of college athletes and professional going that I stay in that extra year, I think it all depends on what the student wants or the student athlete wants, because if the student athlete wants to, let's say, finish his 4 years, then why not he or she do that? But if I know in case scenario, especially for the NBA or the NBA, especially that certain players have certain amount of hype coming into that year. So you want to capitalize that. It's like, if I could be a first rounder, why not? And then like prime example was one of the Plumlee brothers from the Duke, right? So his freshman year, he could have left Duke, but he decided to stay all 4 years. And his first year, he was projected lottery. And then once he graduated, he was a late first rounder, I believe. So it's kind of like you got to really assess the field that you're going to go into. So if in the draft, for example, you want to make sure that that's the right year for you. You're coming off the most hype. People want you, and people are always talking about you. So I could see, it all depends. That's my final answer.
Yeah, I think it definitely is. It's case by case. I think it's definitely
Mhm.
a case by case situation. I mean, if you're a guy that's going to be a late second round pick one year and you are got a really good NIL deal with some company locally, maybe some grocery store or some whatever it might be, clothing brand, whatever, and you're making good money and you're doing well and you have the opportunity to stay a couple extra years and you can increase your draft value, yeah, why would you leave, right? I think that now will maybe increase the talent pool potentially that we start seeing out of these draft classes because guys will stay for maybe a year or two more that would have otherwise not. And I think overall the NIL is a great thing. I mean, how many times did you see a friend of yours on your team or somebody else that had this massive social media following and they don't really have anything to show for it, right? They're not a brand ambassador. They're not, and that's the other thing is that these athletes have such exposure and such a reach to such a large audience that honestly, a lot of these businesses, I think they find it a very impactful thing. A small business that wants to reach a larger crowd of people, why not reach out to a college volleyball player or a college football player or a softball player or a basketball player, somebody that's got 8 to 10,000 followers? That's very easy. I mean, just looking at it on a business standpoint, the marketing side of it and just the branding, it's actually a pretty smart idea. So I think this NIL thing, beyond it being an incredible thing, I think it was needed. I don't know how you
Mhm.
feel on it, but I think it was needed in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely up for the NIL, and I'm happy, especially like my old teammates. I see them coming out with their endorsements and like Barstool athletes. Like I seen a lot of Barstool athletes at back at ODU, and I'm excited for them because sky's the limit. And like for all and all companies, they want to see winners. So if they win, they can post about it, and you can receive compensation for that. So it's only beginning, and I love to see where it goes down in the future.
Likewise, my friend. I'm very excited. Well, I know that you've got a lot going on. Only a couple more questions. We'll get you out of here soon. We're going to start switching up the interviews here for our returning guests and our recurring guests and start asking some questions
All
about
right.
you.
All right.
First things
Shoot.
first, top five pregame meals. What are your top five pregame meals?
Top five pregame meals. So for me, I don't really have a top five because at ODU, man, it was strictly grilled chicken, pasta, and veggies. So I've been biased to that ever since. So that's my number one. And then if I think back at my freshman year at Cal State Fullerton, I know barbecue chicken was two, definitely lasagna three, four. You can see there's a recurring pattern. It's either chicken or it's pasta. So at the end, my final answer definitely just chicken and pasta.
Hey, I mean, that's a good, solid, healthy meal to have before you go out and hit the court. I don't blame you. I'd probably say something along the lines of pasta. There's some people that eat some wild things before games.
Mhm.
I don't know how they do it, and they're just playing normally. I would
Yeah.
probably be hunched over, exhausted, just have no energy at all. Now, a follow up to that is who are your
Mhm.
top five favorite artists to listen to before a game?
Top five artists. First, definitely Drake. Two, I have to go with Travis Scott. Three, J. Cole. Four, who do I want to put at four? Four, I'll say Little Baby, and five, Gunna. So those guys, I usually just listen to rap because that kind of helps me just center, lock in, and just go from there.
Yeah, I was always a big Drake fan. Lil Wayne before games, lots of
Ooh,
Eminem
Little
before
Wayne.
games.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, definitely Travis Scott before games. Travis Scott will get you ready to. Travis Scott will get you excited to like go mow your grass. It's
Run through a brick wall, man. He just got it.
Yeah, he does. He brings a lot of energy, a ton of energy. Well, Loren, this has been a blast. My final question for you. And this is where you get free reign, my friend. You get to say whatever you would like on this. Your biggest take for this upcoming NBA season. What is it?
biggest take NBA season. I'm gonna say Wizards are a playoff team. I'm gonna say it. Yeah, that's a big take, but I want to root for the kids. But definitely, I feel like we made some good acquisitions, good pieces behind Bradley Beal, because Bradley Beal is just a flat out scorer and shown he can be an MVP caliber player. So if you add Kuzma's, Montrezl Harrell, and Spencer Dinwiddie, I mean that's a solid 1 through 4 right there. And I mean we got pieces, and I feel like this could be a change in DC. Hopefully, we make it back to the playoffs. But yeah, that's my hot take.
So will they be better without Russell Westbrook?
I think so. I think so. Yeah,
I
I
agree
think
with
so.
that. Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. I think that they're definitely going to be a team that's going to be fun to watch. They might be a sneaky team in the East. I don't hate that take. I like that take. My take would probably be like, I don't know, the Hornets are going to be a top 4 team in the East. That would be a
Ooh,
big take. I think they're
that
going
is
to
a
be good.
yeah.
We'll have to see. But anyways, lots of time before that. We've got an entire training camp, and we still have to get through first couple weeks of football season, which I don't know about you. I'm geared up. People that have been listening to the show probably sick and tired of hearing me say I'm geared up for it, but I'm geared up for it. I'm excited.
I've been
Anyways,
tuning in, man. You've been making me geared up too.
that's what I'm talking about. Bringing that energy, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Sundays, Saturdays, and Sundays, they're back. They are so
Yeah.
back. My friend, as
Football's back,
always,
baby.
always back. It's great to have you back. It's always good to have you back. Great to chat with you, my friend. Glad that you're doing well. Glad that you're staying safe. You're playing great. Your team's playing great. I wish you nothing but luck moving forward throughout the season. Stay healthy. Excited to hear about how the season goes. Keep me updated. Keep me posted. If you've got a link that you can send for a game, whenever, shoot it over to me. I'd love to watch. But until then, my friend, we'll chat soon and have a wonderful rest of your day, my guy.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for having me on the show. It's always been a pleasure, man. Appreciate it.